Let's bang out smoked birria tacos. Come on, let's make some elevated lamb birria tacos. Right, first thing we're gonna do with the lamb shoulder, we're gonna undress it, trim a little bit of fat off, and then we're gonna season her up. Right, so essentially we're gonna take, if there's some hard fat here, we're not gonna go too hard to trim, we're gonna leave some fat over, because that's gonna render down, and that's gonna work really well when we start dipping the tortillas in at the end. Normally I'd trim this right out, but we're just gonna take some of the big, hard, chunky bits off. Flip her over, a big chunk of hard fat there, we're just gonna trim that down. Quick hit with sriracha, that's gonna act as a binder. That'll make the rub adhere just that little bit better. Now, because we're cooking on a bullet smoker, we're gonna put the fat cap down because that's where the heat's generating from. We're gonna season that first, and then the presentation side, we'll season that last. Seasonings, keep it simple, stupid. Salt, ground black pepper, cumin, that easy. Nice hit of flaky salt, nice and high so you get a nice even coverage. Guide the salt in, cumin. Then you crack black pepper. Nice layer of salt again, cumin, cracked black pepper. For God's sakes, don't forget, pat, don't rub. Save that for the bloody bedroom. Now, because I'm lazier than a Centrelink paycheck, I'm doing this the night before. Season up, go into the fridge, then we'll fire up the smoker in the morning. Righto, in your... Righto, see it, sparrow's fart. Any fellow brew addicts like myself?
Battle plug is on.
So in the bullet smoker, I've laid the lump charcoal out around the perimeter of the Weber Smoky Mountain, and this is going to be like a snake method. So start the fuse up around the front, it'll burn its way through to the duration of the cook. Who else doesn't survive the morning without a cheeky brew? Okay, so we've got our water pan down the bottom, half full, acting as a diffuser. Then we've got an aluminium tray underneath that with some beef stock that will catch all the juice. That will go into the Birria consomme at the end. Our Weber Smoky Mountain, I can pretty much set and forget once the heat's where it's at. So I'm going to put a temperature probe in, then I can piss off and go do some other stuff. Into the thickest part. Lid back on, this will come back up to temp. We won't even look at it for 2 hours, because remember, if you're looking, it ain't cooking. Let's take a gander. Right, so it's been about 5 or 6 hours. By this point, you should be getting some nice deep ruby reds. The bark should start forming, so it should start to scratch a little bit. Looking pretty damn good. If you're starting to get some hot spots, this is where you can rotate your meat. Righto, now that the lamb's been smoking for 4 to 5 hours, we'll crack on with all the prep, etc. for the consomme, and then we can add that to the lamb afterwards. 8 cloves of garlic. Just remove the foreskin. 1/4 onion. 1/4 tommies. Top off, DC into some oil in a pan. Now we've done the veggie prep, we'll bang the chilies into some oil, take them off, put them into some boiling water, and then we'll crack on. Quick dash of olive oil. Chilies in. You'll let the chilies rip for about 3 to 4 minutes till we get a nice colour and the aromas coming off the pan. You can just see the colour starting to change in the chilies, and that's after about 2 minutes. Chilies are stinging hot, into 2 cups of water. Until the water starts to take on that red colour from the chili. Right, so that's been about 2 minutes. You can see the water's taken a nice dark colour from those chilies. Turn the heat off on the chilies. Now we're going to brown the onion and the tommies. Once your onion starts to go translucent, you've got some nice brown colour on the tomatoes, then we'll bang in the garlic. It's been a few mics. Garlic is now coloured. Now we can add all our spices. 8 peppercorns, 2 cloves, 2 to 3 bay leaves, cinnamon stick. Then we've got cumin, ginger, dried oregano, thyme and marjoram. And about 1.5 tablespoons of sea salt. Now we're just going to cook that for about an additional 5 minutes with a pan on low. And don't forget a 1-hole chipotle. Right, it's now been about 5 minutes. It's up to you, but it's at this point I will move the cinnamon stick and then we'll bang everything into a blender. So the chili infused water from before. Then the frying pan mix with the garlic and the onion and the spice, etc. Straight into the mixer. We're going to blend that until it's smooth, and then we're going to strain it. Then we're going to rip in a cup of beef stock and a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. Goes without saying, lid on. We're now going to put the lamb into the same container with this, and we're going to let it ride out until the lamb can probe like butter. We're now going to remove the lamb, put it into the tray underneath with all the drippings that we've had over the entire cook, add that beautiful consomme we just made, wrap it up, and then we'll cook it till it's about 205 Fahrenheit, 97 Celsius, or probed like butter. We can stick a skewer through the meat and it'll have little resistance. Got the tray with the drippings. We're going to bang in the consomme. Smash some water into that, wash it out, throw it into there as well. Thick as fuck foil, we're gonna double franger it. Right, back into your smoker, oven, crock pot, wherever the hell you wanna do it. We're gonna cook it for another hour or two until it's nice and soft. Right, it's almost been about 10 hours, let's check the lamb. Oh my God. Right, don't get your body parts too close to your bloody smoker. Let's check it out. Let's take a Bo Peep. She's fucking warm. Oh yeah. See what I was talking about? Probes like butter. Add pretty much zero resistance as the probe goes in. Now we're happy with that, we're going to shut down the vent, so we're going to let that rest for about an hour, hour and a half, and then we're ready to serve up. The old bone test, let's see how easy this one slips out. Beautiful. Number 2, just as slippery as the first. Make sure you absolutely drill some down your neck at this point. Once you finish pulling your meat, you want to transfer that into another bowl. That's just going to make life a little bit easier when you're constructing your tacos, and then you can dip the tortilla in the oil and the consomme mix. Because with the consomme, when you're going to dip the taco in, you want that fat to settle on the top, and you still want to lay the taco into the fat itself so it doesn't stick like an absolute prick on the pan. Right, I remember what I said about the consomme letting it settle. To get that fat across the top, you're just going to dip that into the fat side. Just like that. Tortilla in, cheese down first. Have the cheese just outside the tortilla because once it melts, that will actually help seal it. Good lashing of the lamb. Get a bit of skin on there, don't be shy with that. Coriander, a spoonful of that consomme. Now I like to add just a little bit of flaky salt. Gives it a nice texture and flavour. Flip it over once it's got a bit of structure to it. Onion through there, coriander. Don't do it with me, make sure you skin the oil off after you finish cooking. Not here to fuck spiders, look at the size of this bloody thing. Slice and dice him. Obviously there's a completely authentic way to make birria that's been chiseled back in stone, not to be touched kind of deal, but run your own race. To me, adding smoked lamb just elevates it to another level. That's my personal preference. Cooking over fire just really bangs hard for me. Let's give this a red hot shot. Smoky, citrus, herbaceous, crunchy, it's got everything.